All right, so here is the weekend update for trades this week. And these are trades that I call anti-gravity trades. They're trades that at initiation, we set them up so that there's no risk whatsoever. Like you can see this position here, we're completely above the zero line on the risk graph. So we're creating setups where there's no risk at initiation or as close as risk-free as we can get. And then once the trade begins, we look for ways to quickly adjust the position to get them into these risk-free positions. And if you'd like to follow along and learn more about these trades, make sure to go to my website. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. And also make sure that you're subscribed to my YouTube channel by just clicking subscribe below. Now, a new thing I'm trying with these weekly update trades is to slip in a couple of classic Norm Macdonald clips, who was the master of the weekend update. So be sure to stick around all the way to the end of the video to see what this Richard Gere gerbil trade thing is all about. And to start it off, we'll hit you with this little quickie.
Weekend update with Norm Macdonald.
The first deaf Miss America, Heather Whitestone, was crowned last week in Atlantic City. Although completely deaf, she is an expert lip reader. Personally, I don't think she's that pretty, you know. Not my cup of tea.
Okay, here we are. This is Friday, and there's about 15 minutes left before the market closes. And this is just a real quick wrap up on the glitch trades for this week, my money glitch trades that are about to close here in any second, or 15 minutes anyway. So here's one of them here. And again, this is about to expire in 15 minutes from now. So right now we have a profit of $700 showing on this. And you can see if there was a crash down in the last 15 minutes, we're cool. No matter what, on the downside, we'll make $625. Upside, $2,470. And then if there was a run up here in this last 15 minutes, we could get anywhere from where we're at now, $700, all the way up this line to say here, which is like 15K. And of course, I'm not expecting any of those scenarios to happen. I'm expecting it to expire right here where it's at, but that's just how these trades work. And as I continue to do these week by week, I'm going to try and see if I can try to adjust these throughout the week or place them in such a way so I can really actually take advantage of this, because this would be a great profit potential on these slopes here. I don't want to get into the middle necessarily because of our droop problem, but you can see with this setup, the droop really is not a problem at all. It's way up here at like the $13,000 level. So this trade was a winner, and I'll probably walk out with, well, worst case scenario, I'll walk away with $625 on this trade. So anyway, that's the first glitch trade for this week. Let's look at the next one. Okay, so here's money glitch trade number 2. And again, this trade expires in just a few minutes from now. It's late Friday. You can see on this trade, we're ending up with a final total profit potential on the downside. No matter what happens to the downside, we make $930. And on the upside, 7,777. And then right now we're currently trading right here, which shows a profit about 979. And again, if it were to pop up real quick in these last few minutes of trading today, there would be some potential here to make this profit on the slope. Although I don't expect that to happen, of course. It'll probably end up trading right in this area. But if it were, or if it had done so earlier today, if there was a run up earlier in the day, we would have the potential to make up to about, this just showing like $17,000, $8,000, all the way up to there. So this is the second money glitch trade for this week that's closing out today. So we'll wind up with a profit of at least $930 on this one. And then there's one more. And so then here's the last one. This is the third money glitch trade for this week, which again is expiring and closing down in just a few minutes from now. It's Friday afternoon. And on this one, I started to peel this off. This was started off as a 10 lot trade, and there were 10 contracts. And as we got towards the end of the week and we were into profit, I began to peel off several of these. So, peel off 2 and I have 8 left. And then the next day, peel off another 2 or so. And I just kept peeling them down all the way till today. There was just 1. And then I just tried to milk that last one out. And I did close out this final one here earlier this morning, which I'll show you in a second. But had I waited till right now, waited till the end of the day to do so, you can see that we would have a profit. It shows around $1,467. But I'm going to back up here for just a second and show you the different stages of this as I was peeling these off. What's cool about peeling them off is that you just totally lock in your profits. So, it becomes a totally true risk-free trade. You can see on the downside all the way down, no matter what happens, it's $640 of profit. On the upside, it's $513 of profit. And then, of course, wherever we land in here, there's all this profit potential. But let me go back to the original trade before I started to take any of these off. So give me a second here. So here is the trade as originally was placed. You can see there's about $360 worth of risk on the downside. And on the upside, there was $1,619. And had we left this trade on till today, right now we could see a profit of around, it's showing $8,117, which would be a phenomenal profit. And I may, as I continue forward this is a fairly new strategy for me. So rather than wait until the final day to see how this would all act, this droop does scare me a bit, but you can see in the final minutes here of the day, on the final day of the trade, we're totally safe on that. And this would have been this would have been an amazing profit had I held on. But, no coulda, woulda, shoulda. So what I did throughout the week, again, I just started to, as we stayed trading in this range, and I started to get into profit on the trade, I just began to peel off 1, 2, 3, 4, slowly, day after day in the last couple of days of the trade. It started off as a 10 lot, and then I peeled off, I think, say 7 or 8. And once I did that, we came up with a trade that looked like this. So here it is with 8 taken off, and at this point you can see that this truly does become a risk-free trade. Everything is above the zero line. On the downside, no matter what happens, it's $370 worth of profit. On the upside, there's $115 worth of profit, and then a lot of profit potential in this area here. And I think that I peeled these off. So I peeled off 8 as the first adjustment on this trade to create this risk-free trade. And at that point, I forget where the profit was. I think it was around $600 or $700 in profit showing at that point, and that was on Wednesday, I believe. So halfway through the trade, a couple days in the trade, and 2 days before expiration. And had I left the trade on after this adjustment and not continued to adjust it, right now it shows a profit of $2,189. So again, if I had just made that first adjustment to create this trade and left it on until today, that would be the profit we would be walking away with, $2,205. But I did continue to peel these off as the week progressed. And the next one I took off. So this is a total of 8 out of the 10 contracts. So on Thursday, I took another one off, which creates this risk graph here. You can see we just buy more guaranteed profit on either side. We just raise this whole structure up. So with this adjustment, this is with 9 of the contracts peeled off now. You can see that the worst case on the downside is now 640. On the upside, 512. And we have all the profit potential in here. And had I just left this alone and ran this last contract version of it into the close right now, we would have a profit of, it's showing about 1,547. So, but what happened was this morning, Friday morning, I just set what at the time looked like a ridiculous asking price, a limit order on the trade to see if I could get $1,850 out of it. And at that time, I think the profit was showing around $800 or $900. And I frankly, I didn't think that it was going to get filled. I just thought I'll just go ahead and set a kind of a unrealistic profit to see if it's just for some reason it gets filled. And if it doesn't, then I'll just take it off at whatever I can get at the end of the day. But it did. Like about 30 minutes later, like about an hour or 2 into the trading session, that limit order took, and we closed it out. And so we closed the position out and flatlined out at $1,850. So that's the final profit on this trade, $1,850. And again, that's on a total risk of the position at initiation, $360 on the upside and $1,633 on the downside. And that's like the technical risk. In reality, if the underlying had run up, there are a lot of different adjustments that can be made to reduce that risk and even bring both of these lines up above the zero line. But just as a gauge to see what the return was on the trade, Let's just use this, the 1633 starting position, and we made $1,850 on the trade. So those three trades were closed out today. Those were 1 week trades, and it gave us a total profit of this amount here. So a total profit of this amount for the week. And I also placed a new trade that expires next week today. So I placed a new money glitch trade, a week-long trade, and here is the risk graph for that. So here's the trade I placed this morning. This is a 1 week trade, and with this trade I have a guaranteed profit all the way down of $2,150. So if the underlying stays trading anywhere from this peak here all the way down for the next week, I'll be able to make $2,150 on that, no matter how far down it goes. On the upside, if it were to race up and get up in this area, I have a guaranteed profit on the upside of $9,860. And then there's this profit potential area in here that's going to be variable, but you can see the two peaks. This peak here is at about 13,000. This peak is at 17,000. And we do have this droop here, which we need to watch. We're always aware of the droop every week. And essentially, we don't want the underlying to get above this peak here and come into this valley area. Because as the week progresses, this valley area can start to droop lower and lower and lower. And that's where the risk comes from in this trade. So even though it looks like a risk-free trade, and even though it is a risk-free trade at this particular moment in time, over the next week, as this trade progresses, this droop will come down and there will have the potential for some risk in this area here. So if it were to run up and go past this peak, we would just have to make a simple adjustment. Otherwise, we could just leave it on and make at least $2,150 for the week on it without doing anything, and or potentially even more if it starts to creep up this slope here. Anywhere in here, we could make up to potentially $13,000 if it were to expire next week, anywhere in this area here. So that's the weekend update for this week. And if you'd like to follow along with me on these trades as I continue to put these on, I'm planning on doing a whole series of these. I call them anti-gravity trades, and they're trades where we create risk graphs that are either entirely above the zero line, so risk-free trades, where there's no risk at all at initiation. Like this one here, you can see that we're totally above the zero line. No matter what happens, we make profit. Or as close as we can get to a risk-free trade. And then as the trade progresses, we do a couple of simple, quick maneuvers to move it into a risk-free position as quickly as possible. So I'm doing a whole series of videos on those trades. And if you'd like to follow along with me, just make sure that you're subscribed to my YouTube channel below. Just click that subscribe button. And you can also join me on my website, and you'll find a link to that in the description below. All right, that's it for this week. And now we'll have some good old classic Norm Macdonald take us out, and we'll see you next time.
And finally, when Richard Gere made his first appearance recently on the Oprah Winfrey Show, the two got along famously. But all that may change when the actor hears about this month's Oprah Winfrey Book Club selection. It's called What Really Happened by Richard Gere's Gerbil. Crazy. Okay, folks, that's the news. Have a good thing.